I'm Jessie Allender, registered dietitian, professional chef, and I'm bringing you Cooking Nutrition Connections here on the social media during the coronavirus pandemic. I am home in Chicago with my 8-year-old. She turned 8 last week, and my 4-year-old. Before all of this happened, I was working as a pediatric dietitian out in the field doing early intervention with 0 to 3-year-old kids. So I'm talking about food and cooking and nutrition for families. I keep looking over my shoulder because I'm hearing some movement like my kids are on their way here. Who knows, they might show up. Anyway, so tonight I'm making some dinner. I've got a whole bunch of things cooking and I wanted to share them with you. Some of this is going to be a product review. These are some Trader Joe's spinach pie, Greek style. My kids love these. These are tasty and delicious. They're salty with the feta cheese and the ricotta. They're nutritious. They have 6 grams of protein in 3 triangles. They come in at about not so bad on the fat. They've got 8 grams of fat in that same serving, and they come up with 1 gram of fiber, but they pack in 60% of vitamin A and 10% of calcium, and my favorite, 8% of iron. So there's my reading the package. Hopefully I got all my numbers right. Hopefully you can see them. The ingredients panel is pretty large because there's the phyllo dough and then there's the spinach mix. It's got some stabilizers. Xanthan gum, I'm really happy. That comes from a tree. I'm not too, there's nothing I'm really concerned about in the filling. And the dough seems pretty normal. Now, I don't know, if you've seen any of my videos, you'll know I'm not going to eat these because these are made out of wheat and I'm gluten-free. And at one point, maybe not in this video, maybe I'll touch on it. I'll tell you why I'm gluten-free and what other foods I avoid and why I avoid them and how it helps my health. But my oven's preheated, so I'm going to get these going.
Mommy, I'm putting my first tattoo on.
Okay, my son is putting a tattoo on. He wanted everybody to know. So cool. All right, one of those water ones. So these are easy. My oven's already hot, 400 degrees. I'm going to put them on a piece of parchment-lined baking tray. Just going to put them out like this. I used to work at a Greek restaurant, and I used to make a lot of phyllo triangles, spanakopita, triopita with cheese inside, and for triangles we didn't do many other fillings, but then we did larger pita with meat.
Mom, can you count for me?
Yes, I'll count to 30. You go ahead. Start counting. So here they go into the hot oven.
I already started.
Okay, watch out, buddy. It's hot.
That's hot though.
That is. But to join my kids eating their spinach, I'm going to have some spinach too. So I have some frozen chopped spinach here. Frozen vegetables are a great choice, especially right now if we need to stock up. Fill up your freezer with vegetables when you go to the store. Frozen vegetables are almost fresher than fresh vegetables because they get frozen. All their nutrients get locked in.
Mommy, look what it did.
Oh, it didn't do it right. Get your sister to help you. All right, and then I'll help him later. Don't worry, I'll make sure he has tattoos just like his mama. Maybe not, baby, maybe not. When you see this in 20 years, don't get more tattoos than you really want, but I love mine. Anyway, frozen is a great choice. I do not have a microwave. Along with not eating gluten, I don't have a microwave. I also don't have a dishwasher. So what do? This is my steamer. It's a big pan. It's got multi-layers. I believe it was my grandmother's. It's got this one. This is the water I have in there. I have it full up to the top. Lots of holes. So I'm just going to use that to soften my spinach. I'm going to put the lid back on. And once I get my spinach nice and hot, I'm going to finish it with some olive oil in a pan, saute pan, with some olive oil and some garlic, some salt, maybe some oregano. I also am dairy-free, so I won't be adding any cheese to it. But I may put some, now that I think about it, I have to find it in my handy-dandy box here because I didn't get this out. One of my favorite products is a cheese replacer, like cheese flavor replacer, is nutritional yeast. This is the brand I usually get. I like this stuff a lot. It's got a nice, delightful flavor. It's got some protein in it, 2 grams and 1 tablespoon. I'm generally yeast free, but that's yeast breads because I'm not eating bread anymore, but because of the alcohol that yeast can produce. But when I'm putting this in, sprinkling it on top of food for flavor, it's not going to have that chance to eat anything, so it's not going to make that issue for me. So that's what I'm going to do on top of there. And then, so they're going to have the spinach pie. I'm going to make some salmon for all of us. I'm going to go ahead and get that ready. But also I'm going to cook some spaghetti, pretty traditional to go with Greek food, in my opinion. Somebody who's Greek out there, correct me if I'm wrong. So here's my spaghetti that I keep in a plastic bin. But I have some here. This is the brand that I choose, Barilla Protein Plus. Barilla Pasta is a great pasta company. They're blue box. They're delicious and tasty, wonderful pasta. It's not so long since I've been gluten-free, but so I know. But I like this one more, and I'll tell you why. Because this one has 4 grams of fiber and 10 grams of protein per serving. And in the ingredients, it's wheat and lentils and pea protein and chickpea flour and barley flour and spelt flour. So this is a multi-grain, multi-bean pasta, and I think it just does a really, really great job. It tastes delicious. Like sometimes the whole grain pastas don't taste so good, and so we want to like not use them so much because they don't taste good. What I like about this is it's got the high fiber, it's got the high protein, it's fortified, or so it's got lots of vitamins. It's got iron, 10% of iron, 40% of thiamine, which is a B vitamin, niacin, and 50% of folate, which is super. This is just a really, really, really super product. I don't know if that's clear. Let me move it closer to the camera. But I recommend this to all my clients out there in the world if they've got a noodletarian, right? Parents of 2-year-olds, raise your hand if your kid's a noodletarian, or your 3-year-old, or your 8-year-old, or your 17-year-old, or your 35-year-old, or your 42-year-old. Some vegetarians or pastatarians. It's like Rastafarian, but different. And so this is a great pasta to choose because it tastes delicious, and yet it's more nutritious than just what I call a white bread pasta. So this is always my pasta choice. And this is the spaghetti. They make thin spaghetti, angel hair spaghetti, penne, rotini, radiatori, all sorts of different elbows. You can get the Barilla Plus in lots of different shapes. This is what I stocked up on, and I really highly recommend it. I have my water boiling for that. I always salt my water a little bit. And I'm going to get pasta for the kids in there, and I'm not going to make too much because if there's a lot of pasta, that is what they'll eat, and they won't eat. Oh, why am I opening that? Whoops. Scatter. Quarantine brain. So I'm going to get some pasta in the water and get that cooking. I am not a good portion size person for pasta. I always make a little bit too much. I always try to reduce how much I'm choosing. Go back for another pinch, but I'm only taking a pinch. And I really want to undercook on this portion because, like I said, I want them to eat the spinach pie and I want them to take a bite of salmon. So they're both going to be really hungry. I know my daughter's going to be hungry today because she's had a fever for 2 days. She's over it today. She didn't have a big lunch. She did have some treats this afternoon because our friend had a birthday party, and that's all right. It was really fun. Happy birthday, my dear upstairs neighbor. We didn't get to go. We zoomed into a birthday party upstairs. How's that for quarantining? Yay! So I'm going to get this in the water. I just slowly stir my pasta in. Whew. My steamer's hot though, so I can't really reach over. Get my spaghetti spoon here. Get those all in the pot. Go on. Get in there, you. I was going to cook a different shape, and then I realized I only have the spaghetti still in the box. So I switched to the spaghetti last minute after I'd started boiling my water. So I usually do my spaghetti in a bigger pot. But crazy days, crazy ways. There's a favorite movie going on in the background. Whew. My spinach might even be there already, and I could turn that one off. There we go. That's what I wanted. Everybody in the water. Okay, cook, cook, cook. I'm going to go ahead and get prepared, get my colander out. I love these. Everybody have one of these? These are great. They're flat, and then they pop out. I love it. It's my new one, and it fits on the sink. It's huge. Awesome. Put that in the recycling. Yay. Okay, so now clean up a little bit. I'm going to turn on my pan for the salmon. I really want to get a bunch of heat on there. I'm going to get my oil in the pan. I'm going to cut and season my salmon. It's just one fillet that my friend bought for me. Thank you very much. And she bought it a minute back. I asked her for some, and she bought me two. And so I cooked one when she got it, and the other one I put in the freezer to save it for later, and it's finally later. So here it goes onto my little cutting board. Put that right there. So I'm cutting this because I'm going to serve it for all of us, and I want the kids to have a bite, and I also want to get a sear on all the delicious parts of it. So here we go. I've got my pasta cooking, I've got my spinach steaming, I've got my spanakopita in the oven, and now I'm going to get my spinach seasoned and in the pan. And I'm going to season it with some garlic and some oregano, and then I'll finish it with some lemon juice after it gets its sear. So what I want to do is, I want to reserve this piece right there. Because I'm making something else tomorrow and I need that little piece of salmon for it. So I'm going to put that back into the fridge. And then I'm going to cut this into 3 equal pieces. And I'm going to serve my kids equal sized salmon as I get, and then they won't eat it. And if I want some more, I get it. Because at our table, I serve it, and then you don't have to eat it. You just have to eat what you want. You don't have to try it. But you can watch me enjoy it, and then you can watch me enjoy eating yours if I'm still hungry. Trying not to do that too often, because sometimes I eat too much. But sauteed spinach is also delicious. Sauteed salmon is also delicious flaked onto a green salad for lunch tomorrow. So that's where that's going to go. I'm going to get a little bit of salt on here, and a little bit of white pepper, and a little bit of garlic powder, and then a little bit of oregano. And these are the same seasonings I'm going to put on my spinach when I cook that. Okay, my oil's nice and hot. I can also tell my oil's hot. I don't know if you can see this, and I'm not feeling too confident about getting it up to the camera, but the oil, there we go. I do it in the light. You gotta watch what I'm doing. The oil is moving nice and fast. I'm going to put my fish down skin side first, and I'm going to start by moving away from myself so it doesn't splatter towards me. Beautiful. Getting a little container, like I said, I wanted to put away this piece of salmon. That's my salmon hand. I'm going to put that in there, and tomorrow morning I'm going to make this into yet another dish. you touch raw meat or fish, it's a really good idea to wash your hands. That's just really, really important. All right, let's check on the spinach, see if it's gotten to where it needs to be. Woo! I sprinkled some water on there. Yep, this is good, so I can get my steamer out of the way. Double check that it's not frozen anywhere by sticking a knife into the spinach. Yep, that's nice and juicy all over. There we go. Nice camera angle. Figured that one out. Great. So that's ready. I'm definitely going to want to dry this out some, so I'm going to drop it into my fine mesh strainer. So there we go. We've got some spinach. I'm going to let it drain. I'm using the little box that it came in. I'm going to get my steamer out of the way. I've got something of a small kitchen, so you know it's always about moving one thing or another. And then I'm going to move my spaghetti onto a more powerful burner so that it gets a really hearty boil on it. I'm going to wait till it's done. I'm going to rinse out that pot, and that's where I'm going to cook my spinach. I'm going to turn the heat down over here, and I'm going to go ahead and get my favorite kitchen utensil. Do I show this every time? It's like my favorite one. It's my favorite spatula. It has a name. I can't remember what it is. It's not like Henry or Susie, but you know, a name for this type of spatula. But you guys are good at Googling, so somebody should just put it in the comments for me, right? That's how we roll these days. Now that we can Google everything. Nice crispy skin. Good stuff. Make sure my oil is all over my pan. I'm smoking a little bit, so my heat's already down. My sear's going to come pretty quick on there. And I'm going to look at my spinach pies. I think they need about 3 more minutes, not quite brown all over. So I'm gluten-free, so I'm not going to bite my pasta, but I'm going to put my fingernail in it. It's breaking exactly the way I want it to break, so I'm going to go ahead and strain that. I put it back in my pot. I turn the heat on to low. I am going to toss in some olive oil. I am going to toss in some, so I made tacos the other night, and I used half a can of V8 to juice up the taco meat that I made for the kids, and I'm going to use the other half of it today. Managing those leftovers, nothing goes to waste, well, except for that milk. But once, you know, that's something else. So I'm going to give that a nice stir. I put the V8 in there just to give it a little bit of flavor and the olive oil, and I'm going to let that V8 cook. I'm going to add a drop of salt. It was a low sodium V8, a drop of white pepper, a hint of garlic, and a dousing of some nutritional yeast. I could also put some Parmesan in there. You know what I am? I'm going to put some Parmesan in there. I need to turn my fish one more time. Got to keep track of everything that's going on, right? I'm actually going to turn my fish and I'm going to turn it off so I don't have to worry about it anymore while I get some cheese in here with this pasta. There, and I'll leave the rest for the kids to put on their pasta at the table. Okay.
I love these marshmallows.
Good. Alright, so there's our pasta. Just perfect amounts for the kids' dishes. I'm actually going to leave it in this pot, put that aside. Get a new pot out, turn my heat up a little bit. Get some olive oil in the pan. And get my spinach finished. Yeah, nice medium rare on there. If I leave it on the pan though, it's going to overcook. So I am going to get these off of the pan and put them to the side for plating. They're going to continue to cook a little bit. I'm going to let them rest over here. I'm going to put that to the back. I'm actually going to move my spinach over here to my front burner. Turn that burner off. And I'm going to get my spanakopita out of the oven because they're done now. Perfect and beautiful. Perfect. Look at that. All right. So the last thing for our dinner is the spinach. Remember we had that frozen spinach. More water's come out of it. Before this oil gets too hot, I'm going to get the spinach in there. There we go. I'm going to get a spoon for stirring that. And then, I don't know if you guys have picked up on one of my favorite things, but nutmeg. I'm going to get my nutmeg. I need my nutmeg. Where's my nutmeg? I followed my own advice this morning and I put my nutmeg in a bigger jar. It's still nutmeg, but now my grater fits in there. And I didn't want to wash my grater because it had tracks on it like a little kid's underwear. But now it's all clean. I just used a toothpick, wooden toothpick, and I went through there and cleaned it out. And it should be good for a few times, and maybe I won't always scrape the same way. So I'm going to put some nutmeg. I love nutmeg in with spinach. So I'm going to do some nutmeg in there. I'm going to do some pepper in there. Some garlic. Oh, I have fresh garlic for this one. This is the one thing I wanted to put my fresh garlic, my last 2 cloves of fresh garlic. Remember, I had that plastic cutting board on here for when I did the fish, so I was able to remove that right away. So I'm working on a clean surface, getting that in there. Turn the oven off. Just get this beautiful spinach all seasoned up. I'm also going to put in just a touch of lemon juice. I'm going to put a touch on my fish too. And last thing I'm going to put in well, two last things. One is some oregano. That's the dry oregano, and I buy it fresh, and I hang it up on. I have this great pipes in my basement kitchen, so it's a great place to hang herbs from. I've found. When I have some herbs to hang, I'll show you. Getting that into my spinach. And the last thing is my cheese replacement, which is nutritional yeast. And it's not cheesy, it's just got the same umami, I like to say, because I prefer that word. But anyway, there we go. So we're having spanakopita, some relatively Greek spaghetti, though I probably should have put some cinnamon in there, but I didn't. And some beautiful seared, gorgeous, crispy skinned salmon. Serving that to the kids. And spinach. Yeah. Managing the leftovers. Got the V8 in there. Making sure the kids get some omega-3s at least offered to them. Giving them a vegetable that they love and enjoy. And I'm set. And I know they'll eat the spaghetti, which is pretty much solid, full nutrition, all on its own. So if that's the only thing they eat, oh well. Have a wonderful night. I'm Jessie Allender, registered dietitian, professional chef, and home cooking mama during the COVID-19 lockdown and quarantine. I hope you guys are all healthy and safe. And I'm sending out my love and gratitude to all of our frontline grocery store clerks and custodians and doctors and nurses and bus drivers and everybody out there. Thank you for everything that you're doing. Thank you so much. Take care.